Right, so now you might be wondering, where is that unicorn? Can promised us a unicorn? Well, it looks something like this. So we have, every one of us have a little personal ecosystem where we get our products and services sourced from, banks, travel, insurance, and all those things. We, for example, want to get to point A from point B. We might take a taxi. So we call a taxi company. Taxi company has a value structure which has some functions. It's the booking, it's the payment, it's the drivers that could either be employed by the taxi company or they could be independent but connected to it. Either it could be the driver's own cars or it could be that we have a car fleet. But now somebody might look into this and say, hey, what is happening here when we do transport for payment? How is that organized? How is that performed? Right? And we might see that we have the different kind of activities and functions here. And maybe we can see that we can do this in another way that is using less resources. Well, that depends on building a business model that uses less resources. And we can transfer some of those savings to the customers. So we look at the solutions, we look at the processes, and hey, maybe we can source cars and drivers. That's the main cost drivers here for the taxi service. Maybe we can source that much more dynamically from the crowd, the management of fleets and taxi drivers and booking systems and so on. Maybe that can be done much more effectively and efficiently if we have an online platform organizing it for us. Okay, so there's a radical potential here. It's an order of magnitude more effective. Then we look at a value network. In this case, it's not so complicated. We can source drivers with an app where there can be booking, navigation, of course, the payment function. Really important that you capture that point if you want to build a business, especially a fast-growing business that it could be disruptive potentially, then you need an ecosystem to emerge around your service. Okay, maybe we can add other functions like for people to trust drivers that are, just doing this as an extra thing aside of their normal work or instead of a normal job. We might have use for trust-building rating functions. If we have the cars already moving around and connected to the internet with the phones of the drivers, we can also see where they are, so we can inform the person waiting, where is your taxi? You can see it coming on a map and so on. So this is the nice thing if you can build it all in the digital domain. You can use the fact that the hardware is already there, build it into the smartphone in terms of apps and back-end connected functionality in a way that is exponentially scalable without getting into a bottleneck or a capacity limit, right? Well, it seems that the sourcing is quite scalable. We can have very few trips, and that's okay because we only pay when people drive, and we can have a lot of trips. And if we can just get drivers interested, we can also deal with that. So yeah, high availability, low cost, scalability. You can add more drivers. It's easy. You can scale down. And there's a demand driving this. There's an exogenous element in terms of available drivers. It's a simple model, but it seems to work. And if we can do this new service in a way that is order of magnitude better than the ecosystem does it today, we can perhaps create this unicorn. So creating something that could have a systemic business model driving its own growth, but it's an order of magnitude more effective than the current ecosystem, that is really a good sign for opportunity of unicorn scale. Another way to look is to look at non-customers. Are the non-customers of taxi? All right. If we build something for them, we will create sort of a blue ocean situation where we don't have any competition. But a lot of the customers using taxis today might be interested in jumping on that because they might feel that the current solution is too expensive or it doesn't really perfectly solve their problems, create the right results. So they can get the job done better maybe in something that you can create for non-customers. Can also look for overserved customers. There's a lot of customers that think this is more expensive than is really reasonable. So this is the Christmas tree effect. The current solutions are more of a Christmas tree, has a lot of extra everything and is really expensive and you only use a part of it. So for the taxi, I mean, you just want to get from A to B. It's not exactly a Christmas tree, but it's really pushing the pain point of payment as much as possible, which makes it open for disruption from the low end. Especially if you have inefficiencies in the ecosystem, there's really a nice opportunity to go in and do it because the assets that are there today are not even used very effectively. This sort of binds the value engineering part, analyzing what the product and service actually do, seeing what functions there are there, what are the solutions. That's one part. And then you look at what the ecosystem is doing. And sometimes you can find a great mismatch on if we apply new technologies to do the same thing. The ecosystem price point and service level seems to be radically underperforming in terms of value. This is how far we can get in thinking and modeling businesses in terms of what it actually does for a customer, how great is it, how much value is created, but also taking all the contextual things into account in the ecosystem it's supposed to fit in and so on. And moving on from this, we will look at strategies for creating, building, pushing this, managing the growing company. But then the next aspect is actually how to connect this to an analysis of the future.